How to sell job opportunities to IT candidates. This mind map looks quite easy. There are just a few nodes, but it's not as easy to make it work in real life because you need to keep in mind there are different personas. So developers have different preferences and they can be grouped based on their preferences. And also those companies have some stereotypes and some advantages and disadvantages for developers. So if you try to step into their shoes, you would be able to identify who is a good fit in what environment. And that's also how you can pitch those job opportunities and sell eventually to those candidates. So in this mind map, that's exactly what you will see. So let's kick it off. So let's see how we can match the companies with the developers or IT candidates in general, but especially focused on software developers because they can be these makers or crafters, all-rounders, specialists, builders, etc. So I told you in the previous video what is the difference from the developer's standpoint, whether they join a startup or a corporation or a product-centric company or an agency. So this mind map probably says it all, and I'm not saying that the other options are not possible, like for example a crafter to join a corporation. It's just thinking about the best possible match or how you can start thinking about it actually, right? So let's go through all these one by one. So just thinking about a startup, someone who is a maker, someone who likes to start things from scratch, someone who likes to create and develop some new products or services from scratch, someone who is an all-rounder, someone who is a generalist and can wear multiple hats and sit on different chairs could be a great fit. So let's revisit makers and all-rounders again. So someone who has slightly lower coding standards, but can build prototypes and move on to another project really quick. So this is someone who is the maker. And all-rounder, someone who has a wider scope, but not that deep knowledge, rather shallow knowledge, but across different technologies. Okay, so that's oh, sorry about these ups and downs. So that's the maker and all-rounder. So we are talking about a startup. Okay, so a startup needs these generalists, people who can create new innovative projects from scratch. On the other hand, someone, some ideal candidate to join a corporation would be someone who is a specialist, someone who is really good at what he or she is doing, someone who has been doing it for several years, someone who can specialize in data engineering or in business intelligence in a specific domain, for example, fintech. So fintech business intelligence specialist, that would be a great fit, for example, to one of the corporations. Someone who likes to maintain existing projects could also be a great fit, just because in a larger company, in a corporation, there are dozens and dozens of projects that need to be maintained. They may not invest huge amounts of resources or a lot of resources to improve or develop them, but if there is something that needs to be fixed, it needs to be fixed. So someone needs to fix it, right? So this maintainer would be a good person. But if we had, for example, a maker there instead, the maker would be really annoyed after a few weeks to just keep fixing some little things here and there. Thinking of a product-centric company, some company that develops their in-house product, some high-tech product, well, we would be looking, for example, for crafters, people who can really thoroughly think it through and develop it properly according to the latest best practices and the world-class coding standards with the proper documentation and unit tests in place. Like some of these people who are really proud about how it is done. Also, those builders could be good fit, people who would build some new solution for the product-centric company. They may have one core product, but they may also need to create some spin-off from the product, maybe some different brand, or maybe to white label the product. So they need these builders who would take up on this challenge. So as a reminder, builders like to build new products, new services, new technologies, bring new products to the market. So these are the builders, and the product-centric company could be a really good place for them to be at. Or the agency, for example, could be a good fit for all-rounders, for people who are keen to hop from one project to another every few months. So yeah, I hope by now you see how to think about it. By any means, I'm not saying that there is no space for a maker in a corporation, but based on experience, I would say it's better to have some of these people placed. And especially if you are a recruiter and your commission depends on the person staying in the job for 3 or 6 months, otherwise you may need to refund or find a replacement, you want to make sure that you find someone who is really a good fit. Because what can be worse than going through all the hassle of interviewing, placing a candidate, and then a month later the candidate figures out that the job is actually not for him and he's more keen about an agency work, and you placed him to a startup where they ask him to do some kind of stuff that he is not comfortable with. So to avoid this situation, think about these personas and these company stereotypes, and you'll be much more successful as an IT recruiter. If you are just transitioning to IT recruitment, you may find the whole booklet with over 40 mind maps very useful. This booklet includes mind maps that cover the whole IT world, the whole list of IT roles that you may engage with or interact with these IT professionals. You may also find an explanation of the software development landscape. You will understand on a high level the web development landscape, and then we will dive deeper to, for example, software development with JavaScript programming language, just because this is the most popular one. But there is also a mind map that covers the C#.NET landscape, or Python, and the whole data and data engineering space. So if you are transitioning to IT recruitment, whether you are an HR specialist or a talent acquisition specialist or a project manager even, you may find these mind maps useful. So you can just go to our website, https://itrecruitermindmaps.com, and get your PDF file now. You can then print it out, you can keep it on your desk. That's what I do. Because before I hop on a call with the hiring manager, I quickly look up the terminology, as well as before I'm about to screen a candidate for a very specific position, for example, a system administrator or a DevOps engineer or a front-end React developer. Then I just open up the related mind map, I look up the terminology, I get the vocabulary really quick. Sometimes all we need is a little refresher, right? And then I hop on a call with confidence. So you can get the PDF printed out and also get access to our members area, where there is a list of all these videos. You can find videos explaining each mind map. So I have recorded these videos because I know how hard it is for someone who has never worked in IT to transition to IT recruitment. So that's why I interpret these mind maps inside the members area. So you can join the members area, watch those videos, and become much more confident when interacting with hiring managers or IT candidates. So just go to itrecruitermindmaps.com.